you are 12 years old. Life does not get much better than right now. Smack dab in the middle of summer vacation, long days filled with anything and everything, besides school and homework and early bedtimes. That is unless, of course, you are already a hardened criminal on the streets, on your own, basically a one-kid crime spree from the age of 10 on, and then life ain't quite so carefree. We started covering this story of a little boy in Albuquerque, New Mexico a few months ago when he was just 11, and tied to this videotaped hit and run, where a nuclear scientist who was riding his bike to work was rammed from behind by a stolen car, and he was killed. The ramming was intentional. The young kids, the 4 of them in the stolen car, made it crystal clear they wanted to do this because they were laughing and egging on the driver. Bump him, bro. All of it was on video. The 11-year-old in the front seat, the passenger seat there, waving that big old gun, that kid was too young to even arrest and charge. But he's had a birthday since then, and he's been slapped with a first-degree murder charge. He is 12. So much for summer vacation. I cannot show you his picture because, again, he's 12. But his name has been released. It's Messiah Hayes. And tonight we have a new piece of video of Messiah Hayes, allegedly in action just before that deadly bicycle ramming. This is video of a smash and grab, a robbery at an Albuquerque liquor store. And I do mean smash, because a stolen car, again, a stolen car, plows through the glass doors at the front of the store. 4 boys, teenagers or younger, all in black hoodies, smash their way through the store, making off with alcohol and cigarettes and whatever else they could, grab. You're watching as $15,000 in damages are being done to this guy's business. This was May 17th of last year. And just 12 days later, this. Messiah Hayes would allegedly jump into yet another stolen car with a group of young boys and commit a crime that would land him in the big leagues, the biggest of leagues. You've seen the video before, the heartless cruelty as the 4 kids intentionally ram the cyclist and laugh. We do not know at this point whether it's the same group of kids who carried out the smash and grab. But police do say this. Messiah, who was just then 11 years old, just having turned 11, was definitely in on both of these crimes, they say. 63-year-old Scott Habermehl, on the bicycle, died at the scene of that ramming. And one by one, his alleged killers were ID'd, tracked down, and arrested. The 4th one, just weeks ago, a full year after the murder. The driver of the car, age 13, pleaded guilty to 2nd-degree murder, and he got the maximum sentence, confinement till the age of 21. And Messiah? What do you do with a murder suspect who's too young for a PG-13 movie? Who even before the killing and the smash and grab was wanted for break-ins at an elementary school, and not 1 but 2 gun crimes where he allegedly shot and wounded someone, missed the other guy. In some of those crimes, Messiah is believed to have been as young as 10. And get this, after he was brought in at age 11, Albuquerque police said the city's crime rate in his neighborhood went down because this boy was off the streets. That's what they reported on this show live. Still, officials there admitted that just today, their juvenile crime problem, in their words, is out of control.
Stop forgetting the victims. Every time we have a case, no matter what agency it is from, we hear about the offender and how they're a juvenile and they have a horrible situation. I agree with you. But you also forget the horrible situation that juvenile put that victim's family in, and that they deal with that for the rest of their life by losing a loved one.
Juvenile crime is absolutely out of control in New Mexico. It's got to be fixed. If a kid walks up to a stove and touches it and burns their finger, they learn not to touch it again. It's a very basic scenario. If you've got two of your kids fighting at the dinner table at a restaurant, you separate them. These are basic common sense things that we shouldn't just throw it out when it comes to the most violent juveniles and say, no consequences, you just need more hugs. It's not about needing more hugs, it's about having a consequence and learning something.
That was a clearly frustrated Sam Bregman, the district attorney for Bernalillo County. And Mr. Bregman is kind enough to join me again live on this program. It's good to have you back, sir. Thanks for doing this. I was waiting for this arrest. I know you were. But I keep thinking, can you get a conviction with a kid this young?
Well, listen, it is so sad in so many ways that we're even talking about the fact that a 12-year-old has been charged with first-degree murder. Charges first-degree murder, the lesser included of second-degree murder, conspiracy to commit murder, unlawful possession of a handgun under the age of 19. And we know that this individual's connected to at least 3 other incidents, some of which you referred to tonight already. But it is really sad. And, you know, when he is accused and the allegations are, and he's not found guilty yet of anything, and he's presumed innocent unless and until he is found guilty. But he is presumed innocent, and the allegations are that when he was 11 years old, he was in that car participating in killing that person. And it's just unbelievable at so many different levels. And I will tell you, it's a juvenile justice system right now that is really in shambles in New Mexico. And we have to do something about it. And that's what today's news conference earlier was about.
Do you expect a battle? And I'll suggest 2 fronts. Number one, competency, which for anybody who walks into a court of law, it means you understand the charges against you and you can help in your defense. I don't know if a kid that age can. Do you expect a challenge on that front? And do you expect a challenge on the front that he's being charged as a 12-year-old with a crime that was committed allegedly when he was 11?
Well, competency's already been raised. I expect 3 to 4 months we'll get back a competency report. Obviously, it's the same factors that are analyzed when you're dealing with adult competency, for example. It's whether or not they're able to assist in their defense, and certainly that is something that we expected to be raised. It has been raised. He is still being detained currently. I'm not going to disclose where, perhaps, but he is being detained. And competency is an issue. Once we get a report back, we'll go from there. If he is deemed to be competent, then we will take him through the entire system and prosecute him. Now, because he is a 12-year-old, we are not allowed to charge him as an adult in the sense that we've charged him as a juvenile offender for a youthful offense. And so just like the other individual you mentioned earlier, the most he's going to face if he's convicted is up to 21. And then he's out.
Oof. I keep thinking of, well, I don't know. I've got these scenarios in my head. I'm imagining what this kid looks like. District Attorney Bregman, have you seen this child? Have you met with this child? And if so, can you describe anything about him? Does he have any boyish qualities? Is he one of those really big kids you don't believe is that young?
I'm not going to go there, Ashley. You're not going to get me to start talking about his characteristics like that. He's, this is very early on in this process, but I will tell you that I think the fact that he is 12 years old says it all in many ways, right?
Does it ever? I'll tell you what, the hot oven metaphor that you gave earlier, I think there were a lot of people watching who think, hell yeah, this is crazy. We have such a problem with kids getting away with murder and getting hugs and being told that's okay, we'll figure it out next time. But then there are others who feel differently. And I do want to read something that the Chief Public Defender, Dan Bauer, said in a statement to NewsNation. He said this: the proposal here, which amounts to, quote, send kids to prison early and often, end quote, won't prevent crime. It won't make them grow into better kids. It will just make them better criminals. It's not, quote unquote, updating the juvenile code. It's taking it back to old, disproven ideas. What do you have to say about that?
First of all, how's the system working so far? It's not. I myself, my office, has indicted more than 50 juveniles in 2.5 years for murder. involving 70 different murders, people murdered. They are real, these aren't just statistics, they're real people with families that are destroyed. So we have to protect the community. And quite frankly, I'm not about throwing away the key on juveniles. That's the last thing I want to do. The only meaningful consequence any of these juveniles face in our current system is when they are convicted of first-degree murder. And some of them, if they're over the age of 14, will end up doing decades after decades in prison. We didn't do the person they killed any favors then, and we certainly didn't do the kid any favors when he first stole his car. And instead of giving them some consequence, so they learn you should not violate the laws and norms of our community, what do they get? They get probation. And juvenile probation right now in New Mexico means, under our system, the way it works, don't break the law again. You can steal 4 cars in Albuquerque this month, and there'll be no consequences. You won't even get booked into the D-home unless you have a gun on you. Right now, the detention center has 75 beds for juveniles. Every single one of them is full. So I would respectfully suggest to my colleagues, and certainly those at the Public Defender's Office who do good work every day, I would respectfully suggest, how's it going? How's all that data for the last 10 years been working? We have a juvenile criminal problem in this entire country, and New Mexico needs to do something about updating our criminal code. The last thought on that, our juvenile code has not even been updated since before the iPhone was invented. There's a lot of stuff that's changed since then, especially on the streets of Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Well, I'll tell you what's changed. That statistic made me do a spit take. 50 juveniles charged with murder in just your jurisdiction in the last 2.5 years. I almost can't believe my ears, and I think of those beds being full. What are you going to do? I mean, I wonder about Messiah Hayes. Is a plea deal on the table? Because the other kid in the car, Jonathan Overbay, 13 years old, he was the driver. He pleaded guilty to second degree, and he'll be out at 21. Is a plea deal on the table for Messiah Hayes, do you think?
Well, that's too early to discuss that right at this point. I will tell you that the 13-year-old got as much jurisdiction as he would have gotten if we had gone to trial and been successful on all charges. So we got what we think was appropriate in that instance as far as sentencing, because it's all we could get. And I feel that obviously we have to hold people accountable, but even more importantly than that, when we're talking about a 12-year-old, we have to make sure we do what's best for him, but make sure we do what's best. The allegations against this very young boy on out there, we have to protect our community. We can't continue to allow it to take place. And I'm not talking about turning more kids into more criminals. I'm talking about doing the exact opposite, of really changing our juvenile code so that we build in some consequences, some graduated consequences, so kids don't end up facing the first consequence when they're being charged with murder.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.